Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I am bringing you guys an update to my Warrock deck profile. And before you guys freak out, no, your screen is not having any problems. This is my new Ghost Rare BLS link that I actually just picked up a few days ago off of Facebook Marketplace of all places. So I was actually really excited that this deck did get a little bit of new support. It's not great, but it's actually, the new spell card is actually really, really good. And so I found it to be actually a really cool excuse to be able to use this right away. So I guess my BLS Ghost Rare link is my first deck that I'm profiling with Warrocks of all decks. So let's get on into the deck profile. Again, this is just sort of a fun deck to mess around with. It's like got like decent potential to be just like a fun casual deck, but still just at the moment it is just so clunky. I think the big problem that the deck does have is the fact that there's not enough special summoning that occurs. Like a lot of these cards, the level 5s especially deal with stuff that's when they can special summon themselves and whatnot, or that they can normal summon themselves if you have only Warrocks or no monsters on the field. And I think it would have just been so much better if they would be special summons. But anyways, with the Warrock Fortia, with this card, when an Earth Warrior monster battles, you're able to search for any Warrock card, which is really nice because you can search for any of your spells or traps. We do run the new trap in here as well, which is pretty nice. Then we're going to go on into 3 copies of the Gactos, or as I like to call him, Sokka, like from Avatar, because this guy just looks so much like Sokka. But yeah, Gactos is really nice because he's just a really good extender, because he can special summon himself when you normal summon out a Warrock to the field, which is pretty cool. And then we have 1 copy of the new Wento. So with Wento, you're actually able to, as a quick effect, during battle phase, you're able to pay 800 life points and then increase the attack of a Warrock by 800 attack, which is actually really nice. It does come up quite a bit just to be able to like bash over some like big monsters. And then all of the level 4s, so all 3 of these, the Fortia, Gactos, and Wento, they all have effects that if they're destroyed by card effects, you can special summon a level 5 or higher Warrock from the main deck. But the level 5s are actually like the best part of the deck, but we don't run quite as many of them as you would think, because like that, you guys will be surprised if you pick this deck up, that effect where like they're destroyed by card effect and whatnot just doesn't really seem to like come up, or it's just if they're sent to the graveyard by a card effect, it just really does not come up that often. These cards are so small that they'll generally just get run over. Like if your opponent reads that, they're never gonna like destroy them with a card effect. So I don't know. I just don't think that it's really all that great. Then we have 2 copies of the Orpus. So with the Orpus, it's really nice because it does like Foolish Burial, some stuff. We have the 1 copy of the new Mahmud. So with the Mahmud, whatever you guys want to say, with him, you're able to destroy an opponent's spell or trap after an Earth Warrior monster battles, which is kind of nice. And then again, these the level 5s are able to normal summon themselves out if you control no monsters or if you control only Warrock monsters. Then we have the 1 copy of the Skylar. Skylar is okay because she can get kind of beefy and beefs up the attack of your other Warrock monsters. And then she can also grab someone from the graveyard. But again, like all of these effects like trigger off due to like battling. So it's just really, really weird and clunky and just a lot of the time does not work. We have 2 copies of probably the best monster in the deck, the Basileos, because he can special summon himself to the field whenever like a Warrock monster is destroyed by battle. So as long as he's in the hand or graveyard, he's able to bring himself out onto the field. And then, he's just nice because he can attack directly and boost everybody by 200. All of these guys have the effects that like boost everyone by 200. Then we have the 2 copies. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong card. We have 2 copies of the new Warrock Meteor Dragon. Meteor Dragon. It's supposed to be like Meteor Dragon, but they don't have the D in there for some reason. But so, yeah, so 2 Meteor Dragon. This card is actually pretty good, but I just wish it was a little bit better. I wish that this would be like the card that would special summon itself, because you basically only get this this out ever, like with the field spell or something, but basically it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and then also you can negate an opponent's card effect when this card like battles and whatnot. So it is actually really, really nice. Then just for an extender, we have 2 copies of Fireflint Lady. This is just a nice, really simple warrior extender if you need to go into something like Isolde, and it can even be brought out by Isolde, which is really, really nice. Then for the spells, we have 3 copies of the Warrock Mountain. This card is the heart and soul of the deck, realistically. So with this card, when it's activated, you search for any Warrock monster and add it to your hand. And then during the battle phase, at the start of the battle phase, for both you and your opponent, you're able to special summon a Warrock monster from the hand, which is very, very important. It's like the main way that you're going to be able to get out your Meteor Dragon, so you need to really keep that in mind, that you always need to get into Warrock Mountain. And then also, if a Warrock monster would get destroyed, then you're able to just destroy this card instead, which generally you want to keep this on the field, but there are definitely times where it'll come up where, like, I mean, sometimes you'll end up with like 2 of these in hand, and so you can just send the other one and then activate the second one during your next turn, which is still really, really fine. We have 3 copies of the new Warrock Dignity, and this is like the next best spell card next to your field spell. This is like the new heart and soul of the deck. So with this card, if you have a Warrock monster on the field, you can activate either effect. So when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can just negate the effect. So it's kind of like an infinite impermanence. You just slap it down. It is a quick spell. And then also another effect that you can do is that during the battle phase, when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or a monster effect, then you can negate the effect. So sometimes, you get to stop like spell or traps, but generally it's always going to be a monster negate, which is still really, really good. Then we have 2 copies of Warrock Ordeal. I still really, really love this card. This card is searchable off of your Fortia, so for that reason, I still think that it's pretty good. The only problem is that if you do search it off of Fortia, then you can't activate it still during, because you're going to be in the middle of the battle phase. So that's just kind of the problem with these cards, is that they're all battle phase reliant. But if you draw into Warrock Ordeal, this card just gets really, really nutty really quick. Then we are playing Isolde in the deck, so just for our equip spells, 1 autonomous action unit. This card is actually really nice still if you draw into it as an extender. Another extender is the Living Fossil, different dimension reincarnation. You can actually bring back your Basilios with this, because Basilios does banish, so you will basically every single duel you'll always have a target for different dimension reincarnation. Then we have 1 copy of Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, because it's a warrior deck, and then actually a really cool secret tech of the deck is Magnum Shield, because all of these cards, they have mirrored attack and defense. So actually with your Basilios, you're able to get him up to 5,400 attack because he has 27 and 27. So you can get him up to 54, which is actually pretty respectable. And the Meteor Dragon is a 26, so it actually gets to 52. So that's not too bad. I still really think that those are good to play in here. Then we have our 2 copies of Pot of Desires. You definitely don't want to play this at 3 because we're playing a lot of 2-ofs in the deck. So I still think that it's fine to play Desires because you really do need the hand advantage. You just kind of have to get lucky and hope that you draw into Desires. 1 Terraforming for our field spell. 1 copy of Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Instant Fusion as another extender, or just to clear the board of one of your opponent's problem monsters with Thousand Eyes Restrict. So I just really like Instant Fusion here for that purpose. If your opponent has something out that's really, really going to stop you on this turn, then you just use Instant Fusion and steal it. 1 copy of Called by the Grave, and then also another secret tech for the deck is Mystic Mine. I would actually even consider bumping this up to like 2 or maybe even 3 copies. Because this deck is just so darn slow. I think that you could even find space, like if you took out 1 copy of the Warrock Orpus and put in another copy of Mystic Mine, it would actually serve pretty darn well in here, because you have ways to search it with Terraforming as well as Metaverse. So for that reason, I do still actually kind of like Mystic Mine in here. It's I got a comment on one of my my previous build that a lot of people actually really, really liked it, and it just sort of gives you time to breathe. You can just slap down Mystic Mine and just draw for a while. And so I basically just draw. My rule is that I draw cards until I have Warrock Mountain, Warrock Dignity and Warrock Ordeal. Like once I have like at least a couple of these pieces, as long as my opponent doesn't seem to have a way to get rid of Mystic Mine, I will kind of just like let myself breathe for a while. Then we have our 2 copies of the new Warrock Generations. So with this, it lets you, during the battle phase, you special summon a Warrock from your deck as long as your opponent has more monsters than you do. And generally they will be because, let's face it, your opponent is probably going to be comboing and you're just sitting there with something stupid on the board. And so with the Generations, you're able to special summon out something really nice like the Meteor Dragon. And then your opponent has to, can only attack that monster for this turn, which is still like kind of nice just to sort of deflect from your opponent destroying all of your other stuff. And then lastly, for the 40th card of the deck is 1 copy of Metaverse, just another terraforming for the deck to search your Mystic Mine, activate it during your opponent's turn, or go into your Warrock Mountain. And like I said, with the Warrock Mountain, you're able to special summon during your opponent's battle phase as well. So it's really amazing to activate Metaverse. Warrock Mountain goes off. You actually can then search, and then you pick up whatever Warrock card that you want, and then you're able to actually just special summon that card, that monster, at the start of your opponent's battle phase, which is super duper cool. So anyways, let's get on into the extra deck. So for the extra, we're playing 1 copy of Link Karibo and 1 Relinquished Anima, just because we're playing just a few level 1s with the Fireflint ladies, and also with the Instant Fusion with your Thousand Eyes Restrict. So I think that it's still really nice to just sort of play the Anima in here to try to clear your opponent's board a little bit. 1 copy of Isolde. This card is still really great in here because it just helps you to search for stuff like your Basilios, which can be useful during your opponent's turn. So even though you can't, you like search and add to hand, and the card that you add to hand you can't use, you can still definitely use during your opponent's turn, which is fine. And then also the Isolde is just really nice to dump those extra equip spells to the graveyard, and then you get to special summon out another guy onto the field, which is really cool. 1 copy of Ferocious Flame Swordsman. He does actually come up a little bit as well. So if you get out Ferocious Flame Swordsman as well as the new Warrock, the like Wendy or whatever it is, the Wento. If you get these out together, you can actually boost someone up by like 1300 attack, which again is all just battle phase stuff, but that's just sort of how the deck rolls. 1 copy of Geonator Transverser, because this card is just sort of kind of helps you to like do some unfair stuff. 1 IP Masquerena, Nightmare Phoenix, and Unicorn. 1 Borrelsword Dragon, Underworld Goddess. Doesn't come up a lot, but if you do combo off just a little bit, and you like steal one of your opponent's monsters with like autonomous action unit, and then you get out like IP Masquerena and then steal another one of your opponent's cards, this is just like really cool. You've got to try to do the most unbroken or most broken stuff on your opponent as you can with this deck, because your opponent really has a huge advantage against you. 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict and a Carbonala Warrior. Just this is like either an extender or a way to go into Isolde, and then I already obviously mentioned the Thousand Eyes Restrict. 1 copy of Baguska, 1 Gaga Cowboy to close out your games, and then 1 BLS Link. I almost forgot about him, but if you guys can't afford the BLS Link, you can easily switch this in for a Decode Talker, and really just whatever you want, like a Link 4 or any other Link 2s for the Underworld Goddess. I know this card is still at like $20 or something, so if you guys can't afford the BLS Link, there's definitely still other options. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for my deck profile here for Warrocks. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been fun picking this deck up again and just sort of messing around with it. Someday I hope that this deck does get enough support to actually like make it like really crazy. I think that it would be a fun joke on Konami's end if they did make this like a actually like a rogue tier deck someday, like if with all of our trash talking of it, like if they all of a sudden gave it really crazy support. I think obviously the new spell, the Dignity is definitely a step in the right direction, and they knew what they were doing with this card. I just think with a little bit more support, this deck could actually be like a little bit more decent. So we'll just have to see in the future what they come up with. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching today's deck profile. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And also, I did put up a post over on my channel over on the YouTube today, but if you guys were not aware, it is almost my 2-year anniversary of YouTubing. So if you guys do have any questions or comments for me to read, I will be doing a video sort of going over what the last 2 years has been like and whatnot, answering your guys' questions if you guys have any for me. So if you guys want to know something like silly, like what's my favorite color, or more intimate details about me, you guys can leave those questions or whatever down in the comments. And again, just let me know what you guys thought about this deck profile, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. So we will catch you guys next time. Hopefully you guys are enjoying War Rocks, and yeah, have a good night. Peace.